How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you my Legend Anthology deck profile, what I've been playing last few days. I know the event is coming to an end this weekend, but if you guys don't want to invest any gems or any dust into a deck that can just get you 3,000 gems pretty much for free if you play it well, is Salamangreat. I know a lot of people are familiar with this deck, and I've been playing this deck on ladder. I maxed out the event just playing this deck. Really easy to build. I think a lot of people will have the dust or have the staples for this deck anyway. But yeah, I thought I'd show my deck profile, just how to max it out, how to get full value. 3,000 gems, really easy. Take those gems, invest it into the current format, or invest it into the XYZ event, which is happening right now. I've got 2 more deck profiles lined up on the XYZ event itself. Really cool decks that I think you guys should check out. Come in very shortly after this video. But this is all about the Legend Anthology format. So without further ado, I'm just get straight into the deck profile. Like I said, really affordable deck. Doesn't take much dust to create, and you should probably have most of the staples anyway. And if you play it well, you could probably beat the average player anyway. So for the hand traps, we're just playing 3 Baylor. There are a limited amount of hand traps, hence why there's a lot of combo heavy decks in the format. So there's a lot of pendulum. I noticed there's a few other like silly little combo decks floating around. It's supposed to be like a Dark Magician, Blue Eyes orientated format. However, because there's no Nibiru and there's no Maxi, people are just taking advantage of that and finding little silly combos. But I feel like this deck sort of keeps those combo decks in check because it's very mid-rangey, grindy. Those decks don't tend to have a lot of follow-up. However, this deck does have a lot of follow-up and can create 1 or 2 disruptions going first and second. So yeah, Vader's the only sort of hand trap or real hand trap that we play. We do play 1 copy of Infinite Impermanence, which is just a utility card at this point. It's just a one of. Can't really search it. If you see it, it's great. But yeah, that's pretty much it for sort of the hand trap non-engine, and also for the monsters, which is the main part of the engine. So I'm playing 3 Mole. So Mole in itself is an extender. It didn't really see much play in 2019. I think people teched it in like now and then. But for me, Mole is really important in this format because 1, it's an extender, 2, it's draw power. So the deck doesn't have any sort of draw power. There's no Pot of Desires. The only draw power we have really is Buffalo. So I thought that Mole gives you a ground game and a little bit of draw power as well. And it's an extender. So I was like, yeah, sure. And it's actually really good in synergy with the Rage because you can just pitch it to the grave really early on. And once you start going through your links, you can just shuffle them all back, draw some cards. So yeah, I really like Mole. I thought it was really good. Backup Secretaries is in the deck. So level 3 extender to make our Mirage Stallion, which I think was a really good card, going second into a lot of these sort of combo boards because it can bounce a card. So if you don't know what this card does, basically it special summons a salad from deck, and then when it's sent to the grave as link material for a Salamangreat link monster, target card in the field and back to its hand. So this card sort of gets you into the Mirage Stallion. Nothing else really to say on that. It's another Cybers to pitch off the Buffalo if you draw too many. Oops, I just put one back in my inventory. There you go. And yeah, Buffalo, one of the best normal summons. Discard a Cybers, draw 2. Playing 2 Foxy, so I was playing 1 for a little bit, but I wanted to max out on a little bit more of the Salamangreat monsters, just because they're really good because we play 3 Rage, also to pitch off Buffalo. So I thought of having more Salamangreat monsters. I was able to utilize more of my engine that way. I think realistically you could play 1, however we are limited in terms of what we can sort of search because mining's at 1 and circles at 1. So I thought I'd just play 2 just because it's nice to see, it's accessible, good to have in rotation. Because Grave Effect does come up to summon itself and pop a face up spell trap. 1 Gazelle, don't need to say much more about that. 1 Spinny, same again. Debug, I was playing, what's it called? Cybers monster. Microcode Talker. I was playing that for a little bit, but the issue I had with that, it contributed to another brick in the trap, and it didn't really do a lot after you summoned it. Couldn't really recur it back or anything. So yeah, I mean turn 1 you kind of want to set up Wolf with the Baylinks or Wolf with a Transgo Talker with one of the trap cards, ideally. But yeah, Micro Kotoka, it wasn't really searchable. I mean, there's 3 ways to search it, which was nice. But yeah, I do want to play another trap card that's quite brooky, that potentially was only turned on if I had a Kotoka on the field. 1 Falco, you only really need 1 to be honest. 3 Jaguar, so I played 3 because 1, very good normal summon. 2, it keeps coming back every turn. And 3, you can just pitch it off Buffalo and it's just an extender every single turn. Yeah, we played Twin Twister as well to get rid of our dead salad cards if we have too many in hand. So I like 3. I wanted to play more engine in this sort of format, so that worked for me. Fouls in here, I didn't play any level rank 4 XYZs. There weren't too many good ones in the format that I wanted to play because we are limited. However, Foul was really good for like locking out back row. It come up a lot to just purely lock out back row, and a level 4 extender, this 1800, was very relevant, especially in the grind game as well. 1 Mining, 1 Sanctuary, 3 Will was crazy. I think a lot of decks, a lot of the combo decks that people are playing in this format, they have no follow-up. So if you establish a board with 1 or 2 interruption and you get to play next turn, the amount of resources you can just keep recurring is wins you games for like nothing. So that's what this deck's very good at. I thought having like 3 Will was very important. Book of Moon, because I thought it was just a good card going first and second. It sort of stops some sort of pendulum decks. There are a lot of link spam Cyber decks as well. So I was like, yeah, Book of Moon, good utility. Twin Twister, good spell and trap hate, and this card is relevant to put salads in grave to keep playing, because in this deck the graveyard is a second hand. 1 Circle, 1 Impermanence, 3 Rage. I think Rage is probably the best card in this deck. You can play 1 Trap Trick, but I didn't really want to commit to another space, especially when this card is accessible off Gazelle, and then you keep grinding it back. And yeah, the fact this card can send from hand as well is very relevant, because if you open too many salads, you can just pitch 1 for the follow-up on the turn after. And then of course the 1 Raw. So quickly over the extra deck. I don't want to spend too much time on this video because really cookie cutter salad deck, but I wanted to give you guys an option just to get free gems. Like this event is free gems. And if you don't plan on playing Macedor this format, I think it's really good to just stock up on gems in general, because you will need them if you want to, you know, potentially qualify for Worlds Macedor, or if you want to play any future competitive tournaments like the Challenger Cup. So I think it's really good to just have an option to play these events. Mirage Stalio, 3 Baylinks, Link Gariba, which come up like a couple of times just to lock out back row is really important. This card is really good because people just don't play around it. Security Dragon, basically it's a Link 2 monster, very generic, and it basically targets a co-linked monster, basically a card that is co-linked to this card or points to it. You can just bounce it to hand. So that includes your opponent's monsters as well. Wolf, very good card. It's basically Sun and Wolf control this deck. The Codebreaker Virus, I mean, it didn't really come up that much. You could cut it. It's a 2300 beta there's a link to. Typically you use it to beat over Baguska, but I don't believe Baguska's in this format. Let me double check if I am wrong or right. No, Baguska is not in this format. So you don't really worry about Baguska. You just need to beat over stuff sometimes. I think this card was very good though, Ningirsu. It really comes up a lot just to out certain cards that are non-targetable, and to just break boards in general. Link 3, 2 link monsters, really easy to make. Transcode's really important for the deck for follow-up and for making your access code lines. 2 Heatleo. Heatleo is like really good because a lot of people just if you're playing like a mid-rangey sort of matchup, Heatleo just good to just give you more card advantage, spin back the back row. Really good with Foul because you can lock out a back row, and then Heatleo just spin it back just to get some card advantage to your side of the field. Barlow Dragon, haven't summoned it at all, but access code I make a ton because you can just break boards with it. There's no update jammer, however, it's a OTK line that's very powerful. So that is the deck, guys. So a lot of these cards you might already have, the staples. Other than that, the engine is very cheap. I would recommend you guys just smash out the event, get some free gems, and if you play it well, you'll max it out in a couple of hours. So that is my Legend Anthology deck profile, guys. I've got 2 XYZ event deck profiles coming up shortly after this one. So subscribe, like, check out my socials, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.